Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekday morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the major buy signal that has flashed on Bitcoin. Now, as you know, on August the 4th, Bitcoin went through a massive drop where we would fall all the way down to $49,000, marking one of the most fearful times that Bitcoin has seen so far this bull market. People were wondering if the bull market was over, and people were starting to speculate that the top may have already occurred. Then we traded sideways for 2 weeks until a very special announcement by Jerome Powell, the chief of the Federal Reserve of the Federal Open Market Committee, stating that the time seemingly has come for policy change. Now, what that means is that the effective federal funds rate that guides the entire United States debt market, which honestly drives, as Queen loves to say, the entire United States stock market, is set to change. And in fact, as soon as November, we are almost certainly going to have a policy adjustment on the effective federal funds rate down, which would mean that debt from the United States federal government would get cheaper, which means that the United States economy would likely rally because commercial banks would be getting cheaper paper, which means they'd be able to loan it out at a cheaper rate, which causes the cost of capital to go down, which generally speaking increases the overall value of the market. Today, we're going to be talking about how all of these factors and the major buy signal that came out of this development come together in confluence to give us a picture of where Bitcoin is going next. My name is Jeb McAfee. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for the better part of the last 7.5 years, and I love teaching you guys about cryptocurrency because I firmly believe that a solid understanding in markets, a solid understanding in technical analysis, and most importantly, a solid understanding in financial sovereignty will help you to change your life dramatically when you get your money right. In 30 seconds, I want to explain something, and then we're going to dive straight on over to CoinMarketCap. When I first started this YouTube channel, I had nothing. I was flat broke as a joke, and all I wanted to do, excuse me, all I wanted to do was to help my family. That's all I wanted. All I wanted to do was to be able to fix the financial woes that I had seen cause so much pain in my father and in many people around me. And I said, if I just do one thing, if I just make one video a day, and I do that for long enough, then I will be able to figure out a way not only to make money to help my family, but also, not more importantly, but also extremely importantly, I will find a way along the way to help people that come to the channel. And so I kind of now have a philosophy about that. I didn't know that's what it was called back then, but I call it help in, help out. I like to help people on the input. Everything I do in business, if I cannot figure out how it genuinely helps somebody, then I have absolutely no interest in it. I don't care how much money it makes. I have no interest in it whatsoever. And from there, the money that business endeavor makes, the connections, the networking, the skills, whatever it is that I've learned or generated in business, if I can't use the things that I have been blessed with, that I've been given to help someone else out, then I've got no interest in it. And so that's what we do here. My goal is 100%. I'm opening my heart to you. I'm laying it all on the table to help you succeed financially, succeed in cryptocurrency markets, and I'm going to give that my all. And so if you're new here, stay tuned because I genuinely believe that by the end of this stream, you're going to have some value and you'll be able to see where Bitcoin's going next. And most importantly, you'll have some nuggets of wisdom that'll help you to succeed financially. Let's read chat for just a second and then we're going to jump right on into it. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in today. We got a lot of people in chat. Shout out to everybody who has tuned in. Jonathan's in chat, was first. Yes, you were. It's Remy No Limit is in chat. Philly Skills 1428 is here. Christina Orozco's in chat. Fox P2, Mike Lowry. Christina's in chat. Carter Pennington said, Jeb, what's up? How's your wife and child? I will get to that towards the end of the stream, but in short, my wife is doing, for the most part, better. There are still some lingering not side effects, but complications that are quite concerning that we're looking into, but we're probably going to be getting some testing done for that today. So I'll give you guys an update on that after the content. Thank you guys, everyone who has tuned in. Defla said, hashtag back to basics. I love it. Let's get started. Bitcoin is currently trading at... Reject the additional cookies. We always reject the cookies. Why would anyone ever... I'm sorry, I'm off topic. Just give me 30 seconds. Why would anyone ever accept the cookies? If there's a button to reject the... Do you ever accept the cookies? I know I don't. If it ever says reject, I just reject. Why would I give you my information? Bitcoin is sitting at $63,624.90 right now. Market cap of $1.2 trillion, I'm sorry. And what we are seeing right now is a moment in time that is a decision point. In technical analysis, we will find these all over the place. All over the place, we find decision points, inflection points, and areas where we've really got to watch out because the market's about to do something big. And we have found ourselves in one of those moments right now. And the reason, very simply, is thus. If we draw a downtrend right here, in fact, we'll just go ahead and remove all the drawings. If we draw a downtrend right here, you can see that either here or somewhere close to where we are, Bitcoin is reaching a downtrending level of resistance, which gives it and this is a very significant downtrending level of resistance as well. This is not just a, small level. This is a big level, guys. We're looking at the daily chart here. This is the last 12 months of price action on our chart right here. Major downtrend. Bitcoin is either, depending on how you draw it, either close to that downtrending level of resistance, or it is already on that downtrending level of resistance. Potentially, even if you were to set us to a logarithmic chart, could change things a little bit. The point here is Bitcoin has been presented with a decision. Are we going to reject from here and fall to the downside, or are we going to break to the upside? And this actually comes into play with what we titled our stream around today, which is that a super indicator has just flashed by on Bitcoin. Now, if you are not familiar with quote-unquote super indicator that I'm about to explain to you, it is called LUX ALGO. It's an indicator that I've been using for the better part of the last decade, and it was created by a current, I guess also, still fan of our channel, Sean, and he has gone and built this incredible company called LUX ALGO. Incredible company. Before he got started, everybody thought, paid technical indicators, scam. Founded LUX ALGO, incredible products. They've got tens of thousands of people using their indicators. We also created an indicator in partnership with them. And as I've explained in many innumerable pieces of content, the signal I'm about to show you generally, depending on the chart, has between a 70 and an 85% win rate, which means when it flashes the way that I'm going to show you, it is accurate. We've not seen the full flash yet, but I want to kind of bring you in on this because it's important and it'll give us some context about where Bitcoin's going next. So this is LUX ALGO Premium. This is the LUX ALGO indicator that we are going to be talking about today. And the reason that I say a super indicator has flashed is because of this buy signal right here that you probably saw in the thumbnail. Now, this buy signal is so significant because it is a signal that states that the market is about to rally. Now, let's do a little bit of historical analysis here on the buy signal. The buy signal came in here, 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 and here. But one of the things you'll notice is that some of these buy signals are not very helpful. So like this one, for example, buy signal came in too late, was not very helpful. This buy signal was actually relatively helpful. And we'll do some statistical analysis on this and get some numbers in here in a second. So we're not just using subjective terms like helpful. You can see this buy signal right here. One of the things that you have to do with the buy signal is you do want to read it. But I have found over the last 4.5 years of using LUX ALGO that you want to combine the buy signal with the trend catcher, which is this line right here. It comes in LUX ALGO Premium. It's been the same thing for years consistently. Here in LUX ALGO Signals and Overlays, it's right there. It's the trend strength right there, right? Sorry, not trend strength. Apologies. It's the other. Anyway, it's the trend catcher. I'm sorry about that. So it's the trend catcher, but that showed up down here. Anyway, so we've got the trend catcher right here. It's called the trend catcher in the LUX ALGO toolkit. And so what we do is we look for the buy signal to be in convergence, in confluence with a green trend catcher, because trend catcher can be either green or red. And so when we go back to, I don't know, let's say we go back to June of 2023, let's plot every single time that we saw a buy signal and a trend catcher green together. If both of them happened, we use the one that happened the second time to be the moment that we define the confirmation. And so right here, we could draw a blue line like this, and we'll make it a little thicker so we can see it. We have a buy signal, trend catcher confirmation. Great. Let's move forward. Buy signal, trend catcher confirmation. Trend catcher confirmation comes in first. So we use the buy signal as our point of confirmation. There we go. This right here technically counts because we had a sell signal, and the trend catcher turned red for 1 day, which meant that this was a new buy signal. This buy signal was a repetition of this one because the trend catcher never turned red, so we don't need to worry about that. We can scoot forward here, and we've got a trend catcher and buy signal confirmation here in February of 2024. We also have one right here where we have the buy signal come in, trend catcher is green. Here we have buy signal, trend catcher is green. It comes in right here. Okay, right there. And then that catches us up to where we are today. So over the last year and a half, we've seen 5 buy signal, trend catcher confirmations. The first time that we saw this occur, Bitcoin would go on to rally 17% in 3 days. And over the course of the next about 23 days, we would rally 19%. So it was a win. It hit on spot on. Here, we saw the buy signal come in. Trend catcher was already green. We would rally 41% in 42 days. We then saw a sell signal for just a moment there. Then we see the buy signal come in. And then over the course of the next 20 days, we'll rally 26%. And in fact, all the way up to the top before it gets stopped out, we would rally 37% in 57 days. Now, moving forward here, February of 2024, we see a rally that is enormous. We rally 68% in 36 days. Of course, this has a lot to do with the Bitcoin ETF. Now we move forward to these buy signals during the sideways action, and they're not as great. The buy signal comes in almost at the exact top, so really a flop. That buy signal was not very helpful, and honestly, this one is about the same. The trend catcher confirmation came in just too late. We hit the top more or less. So what do we learn from this? What we learn from this is that the LUX algo buy signal is, we learned 2 things about it. First and foremost, we learned that it is very potent. 4 of the 6 times that we saw a buy signal with trend catcher confirmation in the last year and a half on daily chart for Bitcoin, we saw Bitcoin roughly rally 20 to 60%. In 66% of the times, that's what we saw occur. What we saw the last 2 times was that the buy signal came in too late and the market had topped out. And so the second thing we learn after we learn that the buy signal is very strong is that when the market is ranging sideways like this, we want to be careful and we want to have a little bit more, we want to take the opinion of the buy signal with a little bit larger grain of salt. And so that brings us to where we are today. The buy signal is here, trend catcher is not green. And so as you can see, the first part of the super indicator, the buy signal has flashed, although we have not seen the trend catcher turn green yet. And the reason for that, and here's the point, here's the whole video in a nutshell. Here's the whole point. Bitcoin needs to break above this downtrending level of resistance. It needs to break above this resistance cloud here from LUX algo, and we need to see trend catcher turn green. And if we do, that is where we may be, quote unquote, off to the races. Until that occurs, Bitcoin, as I stated at the beginning of the stream, is still sitting here in limbo. We still do not know exactly when Bitcoin is going to break through this line. And so that's what the second part of our content here today is going to be about. Bitcoin is set up for an enormous breakout. The buy signal oftentimes will lead, as I said, to a 20 to 40% or even larger rally. A 30% rally would be $80,000. So this is a good sign that is unconfirmed at the moment, largely due to fundamentals, largely due to skepticism and boredom around the Ethereum ETF, and also largely due to the fact that, quite frankly, the public's eye is much more in a different direction right now. The public's eye is focusing on the United States presidential election rather than cryptocurrency, even though cryptocurrency has become a hot button issue in the race between Kamala and Trump. So let's read some chat, and then we will keep moving here because we have a lot more to talk about. All right, so let's go ahead and read a little bit of chat. Jeb, your thoughts on leaving crypto and going gold? People have been leaving gold and going to crypto for a decade now, and there's a good reason for that. Gold does not change, and gold is still inflationary. If you look at the inflation rate of gold, what you find is that it generally inflates at about 2% a year because they mine more of it. Gold is nowhere near as scarce of a resource as Bitcoin is. It's not even comparable, Peter Schiff. It's not even close. It's not even close. Gold has inflated in such a dramatic fashion that can you even really call it as hard of a currency, as hard of a commodity as you used to be able to? I mean, it is mined so rapidly. So, are people leaving Bitcoin and going to gold? Most certainly. Most certainly there are people there leaving crypto and going to gold. Do they have the right idea? Well, when the continual annual growth rate of the production of mining in the gold market is 2.04% projected between 2024 and 2029, I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not they're making the right decision if their goal is to maintain the value of their currency. All right, let's see here. Satchet321 said, congratulations on your baby. My first was born the day before yours. Whoa! Congratulations, Satchet. I didn't even know you guys were having a baby. That's so cool. Congratulations. I'm so excited to hear that. John Doe said, agreed. What bothers me is gold does this pump on the cusp of war and volatile election equals investors' fear. Oh, sure. There's going to be people that buy gold. Absolutely. There's going to be people that buy gold. This is probably, every single 4 years, there is more fear-mongering than the election before as far as politics go. And I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, the politics are freaky. They're concerning. And it does seem to be getting even more serious every single election cycle. That being said, let me just level something with you guys. Here under the sun, which is how Solomon calls living on the earth, life sucks. You can make it not suck as bad. You can make it not suck as terrible. You can even make it pretty great. But generally, we are dealing with the lesser of two absolute horrible decisions. Not just in politics. I didn't mean it that way. I'm saying that we're dealing with 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 different paths that involve a lot of pain in life. The only time that we get to look forward to something being painless and being perfect is with the perfect one in heaven. And so, are politics important? Yes. Would Trump or Kamala both screw up plenty of things when they're in office? Also, yes. Are either one of them going to solve the runaway debt? Are either one of them going to solve all of your problems? No. You have to take that into your own hands and live a life that is a testimony to others. One of the things I've been so excited about while we've been in the hospital is that I've been able to preach the gospel to many people. I'm not saying that I don't mean it. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you because I want to encourage you, because the thing that pains me, and the reason I bring this up, is that so many people are Christians. They know Christ, and they're too scared to talk about him because, oh, that's impolite. Oh, you never talk about politics or religion in front of strangers. Who's ever heard that one? Who's ever heard that freaking nonsense? Okay, the politics maybe. If you love your Lord, then tell him. Tell about him. Tell about him. I told you guys about him plenty of times. Has it lost me subs? Yeah. Do I care? No. I'm not going to shove it down your throat, but what I will tell you is that it's true, and I want you to know, because if you come into my presence, you're going to know about the Lord Christ. That's just a decision I made a long time ago. And so, life here under the sun is always going to be painful. Always. No matter what. So who you vote for, you might be voting for less pain in one area, less pain in another, but you're never going to change the fact that this world is cursed. All right. Much respect and prayers, Rick4962 said. Fortanov said, is it true that you named your son Satoshi? Somebody else also asked that. Stymie Snurdly said, is it true you named your son Satoshi? Before I answer that question, I need somebody to tell me who said that. Like, where did you guys get the idea that I named our son Satoshi? I really want to know. That is so funny. I want to know who said that. Who came up with that? All right. Let's keep it moving here. All right. So we're going to jump on over to CNN. Oh, my goodness. CNN. Ugh. It's just, they've got an article. They've got some quotes. And we're going to read the quotes, but CNN. The time has come. The Fed has just sent a crucial message about its next move. Now, this came out a few days ago. This came out on Friday. They were at Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole is a summit that the Federal Open Market Committee, that the Fed does every year. And so Jackson Hole, Wyoming was always going to be a big deal. And Jerome Powell said some things that were very, very important. We're going to read some quotes here. The time has come for policy to adjust. Now, there's only really two major things that the Federal Reserve looks at. They look at jobs and they look at inflation. They have something called a dual mandate, and that dual mandate commands them to keep unemployment as low as possible while keeping inflation as low as possible. And so they've got this kind of seesaw here. They've got to keep them both as low as possible, and that's not always easy. I don't envy their position. But the time has come for policy to adjust, and one of the main policies that the Federal Open Market Committee sets is the interest rate. And so the interest rate works a little bit like this. You probably already know, but I'll explain it briefly for anyone who might not. The Federal Open Market Committee is the committee that is in charge of the United States Fed, which is in charge of the other Fed banks. The Fed sets the interest rate that they charge on overnight banking transfers. So when a commercial bank needs money and they don't have enough money, they're in the business of debt. So they borrow money from who? From the central bank, which would be the Fed. And the interest rate that they are charged is what is known as the effective federal funds rate. That is the interest rate for debt that you acquire from the Fed. And so when the banks borrow money from the Fed at, let's say, 5.15%, which is where the EFFR is right now, then they're going to loan that money out, even on a mortgage, at 7%, because they want to make the difference. They want to arbitrage it. If they get it at 5.15% and they loan it at 7.15%, then they're making 2% on their money, and they're happy with that. They're at least, somewhat content with that. What we end up seeing is that when the Fed lowers the interest rate, then the cost of capital, the cost of that debt goes down, because suddenly the banks are willing to loan money at a lower interest rate because they can still make the same amount of arbitrage. Think about it. If the effective federal funds rate is 5%, the bank wants to make 3%, then they're going to loan at 8%, which means that you're going to have a very large interest cost on any debt that you acquire for a mortgage or for a personal line of credit or for a credit card or for a business venture, most importantly here. Because that ties into how things do on Wall Street, because most of tech especially is growing based on debt. I don't like it, but it's true. And so if the Fed drops it even down from 5%, 5.15%, down to 4.15%, 100 basis points, 1%, that can lower the amount of interest payment that the entire United States economy is paying by 8 to 10%, which has an enormous margin, which means with that higher profit margin, they're able to make more jobs, which is where the United States federal government has given the Fed this job of this dual mandate of keeping inflation low while also keeping unemployment low. As you bring down the effective federal funds rate, you increase the amount of jobs that can go into the market because there's more money in the business owner's hand that they can actually give out in payroll, but you also theoretically don't have as big of an impact on inflation. And so the time for policy, the time has come for policy to adjust. Jerome Powell said. He also said, with appropriate dialing back of policy restraint, that's fancy lingo for changing the effective federal funds rate. With an appropriate dialing back of policy restraint, there is a good reason to think that the economy will get back to 2% target inflation while maintaining a strong labor market. Again, there's that dual mandate. 2% inflation, strong labor market. 2% inflation is important because the Fed is not trying to get inflation to zero. The Federal Reserve is trying to get inflation under GDP. The Fed is trying to ensure that the United States economy is growing faster than the United States dollar is inflating, because as the economy grows, then theoretically you need more liquidity to actually lubricate the gears and the machines of that economy. So they're not looking at 0% inflation, because you could very quickly slip into de-inflation territory there. They're looking for target 2, which is the fancy lingo. The very best that you're ever going to get the Fed to do is 2% inflation. If it goes lower than that, they're going to do things to increase the inflation rate, which is one of the reasons we need Bitcoin, because Bitcoin does not inflate at all from that standpoint, from a supply side standpoint. So the appropriate dialing back of policy restraint is something that we need to be paying attention to. Seema Shah said Powell has rung the bell for the start of the cutting cycle. And so over here on CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they have made a prediction about when and how likely it is that the Fed will be cutting rates. The next decision, the next FOMC meeting will be in 23 days. It will occur on the 18th of September, and policy adjustment will be decided upon. Jerome Powell, to my knowledge anyway, did not state when or by how much rates would be cut. He did seem to affirm that it would probably be by the end of this year, though. We don't know that for sure, but we do think, but that was what was predicted in December of last year. That is what Jerome Powell seems to be predicting as of right now. And so the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, one of the largest financial organizations on the planet, has predicted with a 67.5% likelihood that the interest rate will not change at the September meeting, a 32.5% likelihood that it will be cut by 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. However, in the November 7th meeting, because these meetings happen roughly every 45 days, they give it a 0% likelihood that the interest rate will still be at 5.15%, or otherwise known as 500 to 525 basis points, which is the target range, because it is a range. They predict with a 45% likelihood that 4.75 to 5% will be the new effective federal funds rate. They predict with a 44.1% that it will be a 50 basis point drop, down to 450 to 475 basis points, 4.5% to 4.75%. And a 10% likelihood that it'll be a 0.75% or 75 basis point drop, down to 4.25 to 4.5%. However, all three of these scenarios are lower than where the interest rate is right now. And this is something that we can chart. If you go into your trading view, you type in EFFR. Remember, this is called the effective federal funds rate. You look at the weekly chart here. What you're going to find is that we have been sitting up here in very, very high territory on the effective federal funds rate for some time now. This is the last 25 years of policy for the effective federal funds rate from the Fed. You can see we saw years of narrowly cheap during this time. The Fed began increasing the effective federal funds rate leading up to COVID, and right before COVID, they began dropping it, and then when COVID came in, right here in January of 2020, they slammed it to the floor. The reason they did this is because when you drop the effective federal funds rate, you stimulate the economy because, again, debt gets cheaper, so you have more profit margin as a company or as an individual, which allows for the expenditure of money. Instead of money going into the banks, the money then instead, or into the Fed, actually in this case, then the money instead stays in the economy and you stimulate GDP. Remember, GDP is just the circulation of funds, of money throughout the economy. So when you have more money, then you can stimulate the economy more, which is what you need during a recession like the one that was caused during the 2020 pandemic by the United States government. We also saw the interest rates were hiked up here right before 08, and then they started dropping suspiciously right here before 08 began. Very interesting, those two things, that the interest rates started dropping before the public knew about either one of those crises. Who knows? Who knows why that happened? Anyway, the effective federal funds rate is now slated to start dropping as we have seen in years past. Does that mean that the Fed knows about some kind of recessionary or recession-like event coming up in the next couple of years that we don't know about? That's a conspiracy theory. I don't necessarily believe they do. But what we do know is that they are going to be dropping interest rates, and they'll probably look something like this. And when that occurs, that is going to cause the stock market, to go through a major rally. The S&P 500 is already performing exceptionally well, especially on the news that policy adjustment is incoming. And so when that is finalized, you're going to see a major rally on U.S. equities. And the reason for that is because, again, the debt just got cheaper, which makes it easier to grow your little tech startup company because you can borrow money cheaper. When that occurs, you will then be looking at the United States, at the Bitcoin market growing more rapidly due to the fact that the United States stock market is growing, and you will also very likely see less strength from the Dixie. Why? Because the high interest rates have been one of the things that was driving the strong dollar. So if you drop the interest rates, the dollar starts to lose its strength. All of this means that we have bullishness on the horizon, and that second part of the argument brings us back to the first. We're at a decision. We do not have a full confirmation here because we don't have trend catcher green. And also, by the way, somebody was asking what this line was earlier. This is the 20 EMA. Bitcoin's broken above it, but we have not actually had a confirmed buy signal from trend catcher yet. None of those things have occurred. And so while we are not fully confident that a major rally is coming to Bitcoin yet, what we can be sure of is that there is a very strong bullish argument as to why there may be soon. And so we should be very much on the lookout for what comes next. Is Bitcoin about to go through a major rally? Very likely it will, but we're going to need to have some kind of major catalyst. Should we have to wait to the election to see who wins? Maybe. Do we need to wait for something I didn't really have time to get into today, which is the earnings report that's coming for NVIDIA? Now the second largest company on planet Earth, largely because of AI and cryptocurrency mining. What's going to happen here? Time will tell. But what I can tell you is that many of our technical indicators, including the crypto Jeb oscillator, by the way, as you can see here, are looking to be quite bullish on the short term for Bitcoin, and we have a very high possibility of a breakout here, which means for you traders, it'd be a good time to start planning your next long, because Bitcoin could very easily go through a major uptick up towards all-time high sometime soon. And for you investors, it is an excellent time to continue acquiring Bitcoin and continue building your wealth here in the cryptocurrency space. The best thing that you can ever do for yourself in cryptocurrency is to set up dollar cost averaging on Bitcoin. We have a schedule that we follow, that we teach, and that is our investment principles. So every interval, we will invest X on Y in Z. Invest X in Y on Z, I'm sorry. So every Friday at 2 p.m., we will invest $100 into Bitcoin on Crypto.com. Every Thursday at 3:47 in the morning, because that was the minute your second child was born. Who knows? Whatever. At 3:47 in the morning, we are going to acquire $200 of Bitcoin on Coinbase, whatever it looks like. Build yourself a system and run in it. Have a vision and run with it. Have a vision for what you would like your net worth to be and run with it. Sit down and do this. I'll give you a nugget of wisdom. I'm gonna make this quick. Sit down and decide what would be a bad outcome of my future. What would my future looking like? What would be bad? This is the antithesis. This is the thing that we do not want to happen. And by the way, if you do nothing, that's probably what is going to happen, because if you thought about it, then that's probably where the undisciplined version of yourself is leading you if you don't stop him. So what do you not want the future to look like? I do not want the future to look like having a disunified marriage. I have an awesome marriage. Incredible marriage. I do not want to have a disunified marriage. Okay. I have been poor most of my life. I do not want to be poor again. I have been in exceedingly bad health at plenty of points in my life. I do not want to be in exceedingly bad health. I have seen so many people that have terrible relationships with their kids that they're estranged. Now we say, this is what I want the future to look like, informed by what I don't want it to look like. It's very much easy for us to be critics. So let's be critical for a second, intentionally. I don't want this to happen. Now let's say I want this to happen. I want unity in my marriage. I want joy in my home. I want my home, the four walls of our home, to feel as much like the Garden of Eden as I can possibly create here on this broken world. I want to be worth X by X date. I want to have a great relationship with my children, whatever it is, a great relationship with my children. You just established a vision. Third step. If you do nothing, let's just accept that you're going in the direction of the antithesis. If you don't do anything and you just go about life undisciplined, you're going in the direction of exactly what came out of your mouth that you don't want to happen. You know how I know that? Because your brain knows that, which is why you're able to be critical of it, because you already had the idea, because you already see that happening somewhere deep down there in your subconscious. You know that's what's going to happen if you don't change anything. The third step is to figure out what actions do we need to take to go from the antithesis to the vision. How do we go from having a disunified marriage, a home that lacks joy and peace, a broken relationship with your kids, poverty? How do we go from that to this? And that will inform everything that you need to be doing right now. One of the things that I know every single one of you has in both of those buckets, the antithesis and the vision, you don't want to be poor. You don't want to be broke. You want to have freedom to do what you see fit. I just took 3 weeks off of work, and I am 100% fine. You know why? Because I have set ourselves up financially that I can take 3 weeks off of work, because my wife's been in the hospital 5 times in the last 3 weeks. About to go back again probably today to try and get some testing done. Been in the hospital in the emergency room 5 times. We spent, of the first 14 nights of our son's life, we spent 10 of them in the hospital. I've been able to do that and not worry for a second about money, because I spent so much time making sure that the vision of having financial sovereignty and security in our life actually was there. Now I get to reap the rewards of that. Not bragging, just sharing with you that it's something you want to do. You don't want to be broke. Plain and simple. It sucks. If you've never been there, if you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, stay that way. Do what you got to do. Stay that way. So our third step is, what are our actions? One of our actions, this I want you to be your lesson here today. In every stream, I like to give you a takeaway about what the market's actually doing, and I like to give you a life lesson too. The takeaway here is that the market is primed and ready. The market is primed and ready for a major uptrend if we can find a catalyst. Maybe that catalyst will be NVIDIA's earning reports. Maybe. We'll see. We're going to keep watching. The wisdom that you can use this to apply is that whether you're trading this market or not, you need to be investing. Whether you're trading this market or not, you need to be investing on a consistent basis. Every week, invest money. Cut your expenses to the point where you have money that you can invest. If you do that, then guess what happens? Whoa! Wow! You'll end up with money. Shocking, I know. I'm what a revolutionary thought. Let's read some chat here, and then we're going to wrap it out. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. Augusto said, must be nice to have money to keep buying forever. Augusto, when I started the channel, I had exactly $0 in my name. Our household income was probably $1,000 a month. Our rent was $500 a month. I'm talking about between my dad and I. Flat broke. I remember getting 20 bucks one time, and I thought I was rich. Somebody gave us $2,000 one time. And I was probably 15, 16. I honestly thought it was time to retire. Not literally, but I mean, it's like, oh, that's a lot of money. $2,000 is not a lot of money. It's not. You can't do much on $2,000, even in 2015, 16. Must be nice having money. It is. It is nice. Two things. First of all, I know full well that it's a gift from God. He has gifted me with wisdom. He has gifted me with actions that have led me into the place where I have money. And I'm very thankful for that. I in no way will ever brag to you about the things that God has done in my life. I will never take credit for it. It is all Him, all Christ. Give Him all the glory. Second thing, though, is related to the first. I made decisions with godly wisdom and godly counsel that led to me having money. It didn't fall in my lap. We've got that kind of nonsensical crap going on in our culture that the rich are rich just because they woke up one day and were rich. Some people are born into money. Most aren't. In fact, most people that are born into money go broke because they did not have the wisdom to keep the money, let alone to make more of it, because it's the wisdom that their parents had that got the money. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and so they end up losing everything because they don't have the wisdom. If you want money, then go get it. I'll show you plenty of ways to do it. We have an entire way called the Financial Sovereignty Way, and we'll be teaching that in the Financial Sovereignty Academy that's coming out. Augusto, it is nice, but there are things that we have to do to get there, right? And there are some times that in life, people are literally oppressed and they literally can't do it. And that's where the rest of us need to step in and help. There are people that genuinely have no idea whatsoever what to do because they're literally in slavery. They're in some kind of trafficking, whatever it may be. And we need to help them. But if you live in the free world, which so far looks like just America nowadays, if you live in the free world, you have an internet connection, you have an able body, and you give it 10, 15 years and you're still broke, it's your fault. It's your fault. If you live in the United States, you're able-bodied. You're younger than 90. Give it 10 years and you're still alive, it's your fault. If you're broke, it is. It is. Now, you might have to make a lot of hard choices along the way, but in 10 years, if you're still broke, it's your fault. I'm going to teach you everything I know about how to build wealth. Stay tuned. Augusto, I'm talking directly to you. Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. I will personally bring you with me if you will do the work to build wealth. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Short update on Sarah. My wife, as you guys know, we had a baby about 3 weeks ago, and we've been in the hospital quite a bit. We still have to do some testing to make sure that there's not some kind of aneurysm or small brain bleed going on. She's had 2 CT scans, an MRI, like 10 EKGs. They've drawn blood, I don't know, probably 30 times. we had the rapid response. She got code blued one time. She had the magnesium drip. She had all kinds of stuff. And so not going to get into too much of it. The testing, everybody does testing, right? But at the end of the day, she's had a really great spirit about it. And that's the main thing I want to tell you guys about this whole experience being in the hospital. She's had an incredible spirit about it. I'm so proud of my wife. I am so, so lucky. That lady is so strong. So strong. What a strong lady. And so, Lord bless her. Lord, thank you to her. And thank you guys for your patience. I'm so excited to see all of you back after I've been gone for 3 weeks. Obviously, I didn't want to be gone from the stream for 3 weeks, except for I wanted to be there with my wife. And I'm glad I was able to, and I'm still going to be there very much for her. I'm kind of stepping back into work gradually. I'll be back full-time in the next month or two. But I'm going to be here from the stream from now on if I'm able to. Now, if we end up in the hospital again, then we'll see what happens. But missed talking to you guys, missed the stream here. Looking forward to being back. Really appreciate all of you for being here. And I hope that you all know that I'm doing everything that I know how to make sure to take the very best care of her that I am able to. And thank you guys for all your prayers. I mean, we've had tens of thousands of you guys praying for Sarah over on X. By the way, follow us on Twitter. You're going to be getting a lot more updates from me on Twitter. On X, I'm sorry, x.com, right? Make sure to check me out on X. I'm going to be posting a lot more over here. X is the place to be right now. So make sure to go check out X. I've been posting some stuff over here over the time that I've been gone. So make sure to check this out. Come on over here. Join us. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. We are going to wrap it out. Stay tuned for tomorrow's stream. And guys, I kid you not, the rest of this year, we're just going to be kind of getting into a groove, but we got a lot of great things coming. No, my son's name is not Satoshi. I'd really like to know who started that rumor because that is pretty funny. If you enjoyed today's stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Also consider checking out LUX ALGO with the link in the description box down below or by going to luxalgo.com/Jeb. You can also use coupon code Jeb over there and sign up. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.